Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 77 of the Almost Daily Show with your host, Chandler, and the magical dancer of the hour,
the Dave Picardi.
We're super excited to bring you guys this show, and we're super excited to be back on track because we miss talking on the internet to people who we don't know or understand if they're following us. We just have like basic demographic download. We can't look at all your smiling faces when you listen to us go back and forth and ramble.
That's correct. That is correct. I'm checking, Chan. I don't see our counter going up on Crowdcast. I want to make sure we're live.
Yeah, we are officially live everywhere.
Nice. Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah, we're live on the Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on
Facebook?
Periscope. Yeah, Periscope usually is the worst one. They always have errors and problems and issues, but usually it actually goes live, even when it says there's an error.
I'm glad we're using Periscope again. We used to use it years ago, then fell off of it.
Yeah, Periscope's pretty cool. Twitter bought it, and then Twitter kind of revolutionized and created the live streaming industry with it, and then Facebook copied it and destroyed everybody. But now I think Periscope's coming back a little bit just because they have some pretty good deals and things they're bringing out for companies to stream and have a good time in the live streaming wars. And you can expect things like Facebook to combat that with like original content next year that they create. So all kinds of cool stuff coming out.
Yeah. And I think it was like December 9th, they just released music. So you can get tons of music right from Facebook where you don't have to worry about infringement at all.
Yeah, they just released, just like on YouTube, where you can kind of fix the audio and put it on there so you don't get infringement problems. Facebook just released the Facebook Audio Studio. So now you can go in there and add audio to your videos and adjust and modify and not get your videos taken down, which is always kind of cool.
Always a good thing.
Yeah, nobody likes getting their videos taken down. That sucks.
I know. We had stuff from like 12 years ago or so that always had the best music. And then none of it works anymore. It worked back then, doesn't work anymore.
It's true. It sucks. It's out of control.
How are you supposed to put AC/DC and Metallica and all the good stuff on your videos?
Yeah, we made an epic intro, and we decided we couldn't even use it because it had too many movie clips in it. It ruins the fun, but at the same time, maybe takes care of an artist somewhere, somehow down the road after everybody's collected their fees and the artist gets 13 cents of it.
That's right. Hey, side note, I have a cousin that's a genius on a guitar, so we can actually have him do some creative stuff for us, Chan.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Steph has a friend who has a band, and so if you listen to the music in our podcast, they created it all, and so we use it. It's pretty cool to have people creating stuff for you, and that's original content, so it's exciting.
That's right, and you can use it.
Oh, no. So today we wanted to jump in and talk about strategic partnerships, what it looks like to build those strategic partnerships, what they actually are, and how you can use them to essentially leverage your brand and continue building that brand awareness and that brand identity in your communities, especially if you have a local business. If you really focus on establishing these strategic partnerships and you get yourself into a position to where people actually notice you in other businesses, you're going to put yourself in a position to where people can recognize you in all avenues. So not just inside your business, but if you establish good, strong strategic partnerships, you're going to set yourself up to where people know and identify you from maybe the local coffee shop, maybe some corporate programs, maybe some stuff you did with a grocery store or another gym or a physical therapist. These are all high-level strategic partners that you can use to basically talk about your business and leverage to get them to go and push people back into what you're doing. But then at the same time, you have to remember, if you're going to be using a strategic partner, you need to make sure that it's a reciprocal arrangement. So you're not just going to tell them to do stuff for you and not do anything in return. You need to do stuff for them in return. So it's a back and forth. It's like a boomerang. You throw it out, you get it back. So you tell them, you get all their info, and they push it out to their customers, and you push out from you to your customers to go in to see them. And so it can't be a one-sided relationship. And a strategic partner that you start with who seemingly moves into a one-sided, that's when you know to pull back and move yourself into environments to where you can really work well with certain people, because not everybody's going to be a good fit for this kind of stuff.
I mean, everybody could be. You always have to find people can't all be. So really what it comes down to is, effort, and it takes effort on both sides. And so, something that we like to do is you create your strategic partner. We have a worksheet for it, but you identify what it is, what that strategic partner can offer. And then what is the game plan? Like how are you going to, if you had to go pitch it to them, what is the long-term win-win for both companies? And once you have that, then you have to do the work. And this is where I think strategic partnerships always start off really good and people are excited about them. And then it usually falls off because either one or both parties don't do the work to maintain the relationship, to continue keeping it going. And then you get into things where, like you just said, like one person's not reciprocating the effort. And so you end up withdrawing. But if you put in the work, set the expectations, and then have just consistent strategy around pushing forward together, strategic partnerships are a great way to really infiltrate larger networks and have yourself be a part of a big network. It's the fastest way to grow.
Yeah, it's huge. And the way I would look at building these strategic partnerships is, like we always talk about when you're building corporate programs and stuff like that, you want to look to the people inside your community who are using and leveraging some of these things already. Then you ask them about it and you try to get them to set you up with an introduction, or you walk into these places and start building a relationship. We talk about local biz dev, walk in, build a relationship, get people excited about what you do and talking about what you do. It's the same thing with strategic partnerships. So if I wanted to, for example, set up a strategic partnership with a physical therapist, and when they get done with PT, I would set it up so they funnel people into my one-on-one fundamentals program. So it gives people something to do after physical therapy. So the strategic partnership needs to be set up to where you invite them to come in and do your intro program so they understand and know what you're doing and they trust you. And you go in and you do a bunch of stuff with them so they can do an evaluation and work on you. And you guys both know each other's processes so well that you can talk about what each other do. And you build up enough trust and enough reliability to actually go in there and do those things together. And so what I would set that up after that is, okay, now you're going to finish people with your PT and you're going to move them over to what I do. And when I get people who need PT or who need more work than I can provide them, and especially in a healthcare scenario, I'm going to move them over to you, and we have this integrative system. So now, as my PT strategic partner, we have something where we can go back and forth. I can have people in fundamentals while they're in PT, and you can have PT people who are finishing up and integrating into fundamentals. And so if you get someone who does this really well and works well with you, you're going to have a continuous flow of clients coming in and out just by having that one partner established. And you can do this with 3 or 4 or just one. It depends on how much work you're willing to put in to do it, because the hardest part for people is actually putting in this work, because it does take a lot of work to establish this. It takes a lot of work to get trust built up with people, and it takes a lot of work to maintain it. So you have to decide, are you ready to do this, and are you willing to put in the work to make it happen?
Let's talk about some of that work. Say we use a PT or a chiro or something like that. It's not good enough just to say, like, oh, I have a PT you should go to. What needs to happen is you need to give the PT a voice inside of your community so that they can bring some value. They can bring, educate and have people become, 1, comfortable with them, 2, understand why it's so important. And then vice versa. Then, you have the opportunity to go in and provide value at their practice as well. It could be lectures, it could be, little seminars, whatever it is. I know locally with chiros for us, we've always kind of just parked the coach inside the PT or chiro practices and made it consistent. It could be an hour or 2 a month, but they can promote to their clients to come in for some movement work. And we don't charge for it. It's part of a kind of like a mutual arrangement where they come into our facility and offer value. We go into their practice, offer value, and promote each other, right? And then when we have actual promotions, more people are aware. They're educated on why it's so important, and we have better just overall participation.
Yeah, that's huge. It has to be set up in a way to where you're going to provide value to both parties. And for example, like talking about the chiropractic one thing we've done in the past is set up chiropractic memberships that we can sell inside our facility for the chiro. then when the chiro gets people who need fitness, he can offer them something to come in and see us. And at one point we had something that was like 4 adjustments a month for $59 or whatever for one person. They were able to get that from us, and they go over and they see their chiro once a week. Chiro talks to us about what happens, and then we use that to continue making sure they're in a good position moving forward. So these are strategic partnerships that you build up. You both use each other's networks to leverage what you're doing, and you provide value to each other. And then as a result, you provide an incredible amount of value and a seamless level of service to your clients. So when they go in there and they need something, they literally get a one-stop shop for you. And this is another conversation probably, but this is how you bridge the gap to integrate healthcare into your facility. So we set up these it starts with strategic partnerships. Who are the PTs I know? Who are the chiropractors I know? Who are a couple doctors or nurses I know? And how can I use what they have to leverage it inside my facility and bring people to them and have them bring people to me? And this is the beginning of establishing that high level brand awareness in your community. People will know and understand and recognize it when they say, oh, when you finish PT, you go over there. They do really well with that stuff. Or, man, I go there and I have a chiropractic membership. I have my gym membership. I have my coach who talks to me. You really put yourself into a position to where you've provided that huge level of value and that high level of service to people.
Yeah, and it's creating your own little ecosystem locally. We all know that everybody needs integrated healthcare. If you're in the gym business or physical therapy, a chiropractor, you're all trying to service the same clients. And I think that's where I think that's where everybody kind of runs into roadblocks, because they don't do a good job with creating these strategic partnerships and tying everybody together. And tracking together and collaborating together on the client's best interest. It creates separation in these markets where, they're all fighting for the same dollars. We're all fighting for, if a client has a couple $100 a month in disposable income that they can put towards their health, the gym's trying to get it, the chiro's trying to get it, the PT's trying to get it. But working together and collaborating together, to educate the client on maybe how to clean up other aspects of their lives so that they can afford it is huge. So maybe even, a good strategic partner would be a financial advisor or, the accountant. It doesn't have to be just similar type services.
Yeah, these can all be things that we can leverage to provide value and to provide people that seamless experience in all aspects of their life. So you have an accounting partner, tax season comes up, you start referring people out like, hey, we partnered with this guy for taxing. His name is Taxman 502739. Goes,
woo!
He will tax your face off by eliminating the taxes from your life.
I love it.
So those are things you can do, and you can leverage this out and map this out across the year. Who can I use for tax season? Who can we leverage and work with during like holiday seasons for people to go in and buy products and services? Who can we leverage for like chiropractic care, physical therapy, dentistry, all of these things? A coffee shop. Maybe you go in and you set up a coffee shop program where anybody who's a member gets either a discount at the coffee shop, or you sell like a coffee club membership to that coffee place, and then they can offer your services. And maybe coffee club, they pay like $12 a month or something, and they get 2 cups or whatever. But it's something that needs to drive people from your business into their business, and then in return they drive people from them into you. So you have this huge relationship built up. And if you think about, especially in like coffee shops and stuff, if you had a coffee club you sold, it would drive, the amount of people that drive in and out of those places are huge. And so if you have them bringing customers to you, you have a massive network to pull from, especially like the more trendy coffee shops where it's people who really do care about their health and people who are really excited about like good tasting coffee and like the quality of life. Those are the dynamics and those are the customers you really want to branch into. And if you don't want to put thousands of dollars into like Facebook marketing or any of that stuff, or radio and all of the things that people tell you to do, then you go leverage these strategic partnerships. You use your boots on the ground to go in there and set these things up. And then you have a pretty good relationship built up and established that's going to benefit you long term.
Yeah. So one of the things I think we should touch on is, we're talking about like strategic partners, business to business, which is super important. But there's other ways to have strategic partners. In the affiliate world, I'll rattle off a few here and then we can maybe dive into them. But in the affiliate world, CrossFit is a strategic partner of all these businesses. So, we see it a lot is everybody takes, right, the stuff that CrossFit's given them or the name they put on their door or, the certification they have behind them. But remember that a strategic partnership is a two-way street. So you need to make sure you do your part in local education, building the brand up and actually helping have a strong brand. And we see people not really doing that. We see some doing it and other people not doing it. You got to understand that when you do have a strategic relationship, you have to also do your part. It's very important. Another local one, let me throw a few out, would be like charities, right? Strategic partnership with charities is big, especially ones that are really tied into your local community, because that gets your name out there, gives you all sorts of opportunity to mingle, promote, do whatever you really want to do in the community if you tie in. So I think those are two really important pieces.
Yeah, these are huge. And when you find that you want to leverage something that someone else is doing really well, especially like leveraging CrossFit or USA weightlifting, if you say, hey, I want to open up a weightlifting, talk about like, okay, Olympics lifting. So you're like, okay, who's doing really well with this that we can partner with to help build a brand or at least give us a certain amount of credibility behind what we're doing when we start. So you say, all right, USA weightlifting, let's partner with these guys. They obviously run the entire Olympic program and they give you the class, they give you a lot of resources. So let's partner with them. We are now a USA weightlifting club. And like CrossFit, okay, we want to do group fitness. We really like the functional dynamics. All right, CrossFit seems like the best one to partner with because they're a huge brand and they can drive business to us as well. And then you start saying, okay, maybe we want to start a yoga or a kettlebell, whatever programs you start. If there's people who are doing it at the high level and have systems established for it, you should probably look into at least using them as a strategic partner, because it gives you a sort of like badge of honor or a stamp of approval. Like, hey, we're approved by these guys. We're part of what they do. It puts us at the higher level than anyone else. And so that's really what you want to do. But you have to be careful with this too, because a lot of companies now are just selling like their name as like this major thing that you can buy, and people think it's going to somehow benefit you. But you need to really dive into it and say, are they popular enough? Are they big enough? And do they have an established enough program to support me in what I need to do?
Yeah. And it's also remembering that a strategic partnership is a partnership that you have, it's not, can they benefit me? That's, if you haven't sat down and wrote out, let's just say we take the coffee shop, this is who owns it. This is what their vibe is, what they're all about. And here's my idea for a strategic partnership. And then you can go present it to them and make it a win-win. So if you're looking at a strategic partnership with organizations, so say like professional ones like a CrossFit, a USA weightlifting, a kettlebell organization, a rowing organization, whatever it is, self-defense organization, do the same exercise, right? What is the win-win? Where is the benefit? What do you have to do for work to make sure that you're doing your part? Are they going to be able to live up to your expectations? You want to make sure it's a good fit for a strategic partnership, not just, business isn't doing great. I need to latch onto something. Let's try something new. That's it. That's not a way to analyze whether or not something's going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at this, especially with like CrossFit and stuff like that, you need to look at it from two dynamics. Yes, I enjoy the exercise. And yes, I enjoy the benefits from it. And yes, I'm passionate about it. But at the same time, what kind of support do I need on the business end? Am I someone who needs someone to hold my hand the entire way through? Because then you're going to need CrossFit plus some sort of consultant or business partner. Or maybe you should look into opening some sort of franchise then, because they're going to provide you all those services that you need. So these are the decisions you have to make when establishing strategic partnerships. Do I want this just for the brand awareness, the brand name, and the identity that they've created, and potentially the customer drive? Or do I need someone to hold my hand in this entire process? And do I need these systems done for me because I'm not in a position to where I want to do anything? Those are the decisions you have to make yourself. I think a lot of people jump into like CrossFit, for example, and think that everything's going to be sunshine and gumdrops. And then when they have to run an actual business and build a real brand, they get upset and they blame CrossFit. But in reality, it's their own fault because they didn't set themselves up for success from the beginning. There was no cost benefit analysis, and they jumped into it out of sheer passion for the movement.
Right. Which, I mean, I've been around that scene for a long time, and I love CrossFit, and, clearly changed our lives for the better. But really what it comes down to is CrossFit's not your brand. CrossFit is the strategic partner's brand. And if you choose to start with, change to, or change away from and keep the CrossFit name on your door, there's nothing wrong with that. Just know that that alone, that's not your brand. That is the strategic partner's brand that you're using. You still have to have your brand, your culture. It could have the same name, but you have to showcase yourself and understand that whole game. And this is why people franchise. We've been hearing it for years about how it's, franchising is a waste of money. It was a joke. You can do it in a CrossFit affiliate for $3,000, but you don't get anything of what you needed to run your business successful for $3,000, right? You needed to spend a couple $100,000, and you pay it either way, right? Either you're a smart business guy and eventually you build a really strong brand with systems that resembles a franchise, but you've definitely spent at least a couple $100,000 in the process.
Oh yeah, easily. So here's your homework for today. If you want to build these strategic partnerships and really establish these dynamics, figure out like 3 or 4 businesses that you can go in there and establish these partnerships with, or figure out healthcare providers. So who's a physical therapist I know, or what's a coffee shop that I'm really familiar with, who inside my membership has connections to these places, and then what can I do to provide them value? If it's a PT, how do I go in there and integrate with what they're doing? If it's a coffee shop, how do I set up a coffee club so that I'm driving business to them? If it's a chiropractor, how do I get people to go see them on the regular and so they can see a continuous benefit? And then how do I keep it moving and how do I step it forward? So organize this into your phases of strategic planning. Plan it up, get it going, discover what's going on, plan it, execute, and then post-analysis, look at what was working, what wasn't working, and make sure you have partnerships that are established for a two-way street. And then you should be good to go. It's a lot of work, though, so don't expect to jump into this and just sunshine and gumdrops raining down and everybody's happy. Expect to be the one who's going to have to work on it, chase people down, talk to people, convince them that it's a good thing, and then make it happen.
Keep it going. Someone's got to keep it going. Someone's got to be responsible.
That's right.
That's you.
You are responsible for your own destiny.
That's right.
All right, Dave. Well, this is the end of the show. We might see you guys tomorrow. We might not. We probably will, but we'll be back.
That's right. Just like Arnold. We will be back
with a vengeance. All right. See ya.
Later.